Center for Coordination of Youth Activities, together with other civil society organizations, has held a one-day dialogue session with EMBs and security agencies on the electoral process and election security for women, PWDs, and first-time voters, with a theme promoting electoral awareness for enhancing participation of first-time voters, women, youth, and persons with disability in the 2023 elections. According to the gender inclusive specialist for the UNDP, Ayumobola Ademola Adeline, said they decided to support the ECSL for the forthcoming general elections in gender equality as a means of educating the disadvantaged and the marginalized group in the country. She further that supporting civil society organizations in the area of electoral education is one that will help the smooth outcome of the process itself.
Supporting ECSL to ensure that there is voters education that grows across the country, and that is why this project is supporting the civil society organizations and CDD for them to organize a meeting like this, where everybody can understand more around the electoral systems that will be used to conduct this election, as is going on now and many others that will be happening. We are working with ECSL to also ensure that there is appropriate message on these elections. We are working with the Electoral Inclusion Department, which Madam Thomas mentioned earlier. It's in different aspects. Number one, we are supporting to establish a coordination platform for people with disability, where they have people that are physically challenged, people that are hearing and speech that cannot speak, they cannot hear, people that are visually challenged, they cannot see, little people, albinos, amputees, victims of war, for them to also be part of this election process.
Speaking on behalf of the security sector, Dr. Mansour Mansari from the Office of the National Security, ONS, in his PowerPoint presentations, said the presentation is centered on the preparation of the security sector for the forthcoming general elections, as it's centered on the benchmarks they have done so far and coming up with key strategies, security policies, and election-related documents.
The presentation centered on preparations of the security sector for the forthcoming elections. What we are seeing in this presentation, it was centered on the benchmarks we've done so far, coming up with key strategic security policy election-related documents. 3 of these documents, and not only that, but what actually precedes this one, which is the National Election Security Threat and District Risk Mapping, that gave birth to this 3 document. I made mention in my presentation that between 2011 and 2012, the National Security Council, where the President sits as the chair, authorized the creation of a committee. The committee called IESPC, the Integrated Election Security Planning Committee. That's the committee that was set up on the instruction of His Excellency. And that committee is now fully up and running. It is charged with the responsibility of putting election security modalities in place for not only this coming election, but for future general elections.
The Executive Director of Center for Coordination of Youth Activities, Abigail Stephen, said the dialogue meeting was organized in order for them to educate the young people, more especially the first-time voters and persons living with disabilities, as to how they should conduct themselves. She further thanked their development partners for the support given to them and called on all young people to keep the peace and support the process.
CCYA, together with its partner, Campaign for Good Governance, Network Movement for Democracy and Human Rights, Initiative for Young Women with Disability, we're implementing a project entitled Promoting Electoral Awareness for Enhancing Participation of First-Time Voters, Women and Youth with Disabilities in the 2023 elections. So the project is being supported by UNDP. And for us, the partners, we're looking at how best we'll be able to educate our young people, youth, persons with disability, and women on the electoral processes. Most especially the new system that is being introduced for this electoral cycle, which is the PR, proportional representation, which is the PR system. For us, especially for the first-time voters, it will be very challenging for them to understand how best the PR system works, and that is why us, the partners, the four organizations, CCYA, EMBs, CGG, and IYWDG, we're implementing this project. And today we're here on a dialogue session. We're having a dialogue session with young people, the EMBs, electoral management bodies, the security sector, together with the first-time voters. We want to see how best we'll be able to dialogue with the election management bodies, ECSL, PPRC, ONS, and also together with our women, our young women, persons with disability, and like I said earlier, the first-time voters who are very new into the system. This is their first time they are voting or taking part in electoral processes. So we want to see how best we can have this dialogue and be able to educate these young people for them to be able to participate in this 2023 election.
For Star TV News in Freetown, George Elliott Sam reporting.